Alright guys, I'm back. I'm sorry that this is late. To make it up to you, I'm going to read 2 chapters. That's right, 1, 2. So, it's my apology. Also, still no keys. They're lost forever. I had to make an appointment. It's going to cost me $450 to get a new key. So I think that's kind of BS. So, yeah, there it is. Don't lose your car keys. Learn from my mistakes. Reading these comments, I think that Jake will become a background character. And he will be hit by a car. So that is my prediction. But Ryan will survive. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's see here. I'm all for enemies to lovers, and I have no idea why Jake is acting distant. My God. P.S. We all hate Angie. Yeah, that's true. Seriously though, Angie is the worst written character of all time, next to a Garth Ennis self-insert and stuff. All right, chapter 3. How does it feel? How does it feel to be fucking awful? Can't relate, Angie. The disposable pillowcase crinkled as Angie turned her head in the nurse's office. Oh yeah, she passed out. Oh, that's rough. She was waiting for Jake and like in the cafeteria, and then she had like a panic attack and passed out in front of Jamboree, I think. Angie had fabricated some story about not eating lunch and low blood sugar, all in an effort to normalize the not normal, to play down her increasing struggle with anxiety, depression, and the hole. The hole is capitalized. Feeling better? Asked the school nurse, pulling the curtain back. Angie did not know her name, as she was the new school nurse, and her name badge was obscured by her sweater. It was a nice sweater. Blue. Angie liked that color. Significantly more than yellow. Angie, we can't just be hitting on everybody, girl. Angie propped herself on her elbows, taking a cup of juice from the nameless nurse. Are you sure you don't want me to call your mother? The nurse asked. That would be the absolute, unequivocally last thing Angie would ever want any adult to do. She's in court, said Angie. Mothers love their daughters, said the nameless nurse. I have too. That's a weird thing for a nurse to say. There had been 2 in Angie's house, but the one who mattered had died, leaving the leftovers, which are never as good as the original. Never. I really just want to go back to class, Angie said. That was a hard and fast lie. What she did not want was to have her couldn't understand mother show up at the school because Angie had been a problem. Especially on the first day of school. The ice that Angie had skated on with her mother over the summer continued to be, metaphorically speaking, very, very, very thin. So much so that Connie had hinted on more than one occasion at an opportunity for Angie to attend a Catholic boarding school in the city, which was 78 miles away. Oh, okay. And she'd wear the uniform. Connie had suggested the discipline might straighten Angie out and perhaps even slim her down. Oh, man. They did, after all, have a nutritionist on staff. It did not matter that Angie's family was more of the light a candle when a camera was on them variety of Catholics and only attended Christmas Mass because Connie's boyfriend, Wang's court-appointed therapist, hey, they're still together, expected it. Connie took communion even though she really believed there was no God, because what kind of God would take her only good daughter and leave her with an adopted semi-criminal son and fat Angie? A question Connie had posed to her best friend Joan, believing no one could hear her talking on the phone one night. Shit. That's rough. Maybe Jake shouldn't be run over by the car. Maybe it's gotta be her mom. The nurse's assessment was factual. Mothers do often love their daughters, mothers who were not Angie's. Okay, said the nameless nurse, her eyes checking her watch. 6th period starts in about 20 minutes. Let me know if you need anything. Angie finished the juice and dropped her head back onto the pillow. The pillow crinkled again. She did not like the sound. It reminded her of Yellow Ridge, the post-attempted suicide treatment facility her mother had admitted her to last year. Angie did not like that place, not at all. The walls were blue-gray. The windows did not break. The sheets were washed with an abrasive detergent that made Angie's skin itch. It was a prison without bars, a disturbingly non-soothing place where people smiled in that way that felt genuinely unauthentic. She said whatever was necessary to get out, because Angie, in no uncertain terms, did not do well in confinement of any kind. It was at the thought of Yellow Ridge that the hole, again capitalized, grew an invisible millimeter inside of her. She rolled to her side, covering her diaphragm with her arms. That was where the hole lived, in her diaphragm, though undiagnosed by any medical professional, it had been there since what was supposed to have been the most perfect July 4th weekend. It was a weekend that Angie had thought about for weeks, knowing her couldn't understand mother would be in the city of sin, aka Las Vegas, with her boyfriend, and Angie could be with Casey without blowback from Connie. Marathon watching the sole season of My So-Called Life while eating snappy popcorn with green M&Ms. That sounds gross. And it had all rolled out just like her fantasy, even surpassing her expectations, as she and Casey had stretched out on an inflatable mattress in Casey's mother's 1999 Toyota Tacoma truck bed. The smell of mesquite wood burning on the grill, the sound of Terrence Trent's DRB, setting the mood from the portable AM/FM radio tuned into 93.5, playing hits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I don't know what that was, so I'm sorry. The moment was ultra even, as Casey would say. Romantic to infinity and beyond times pi, as Angie would say. Then Casey dropped the bomb before the first burger could be served. She had agreed to a trial run to reconnect with her dad, thus moving away from Dry Falls and the hit me with your best shot smoothies from the backstory. Angie's fantasy July 4th unraveled rapidly. Panic fear, if there was such a thing, occurred for Angie. Everything had been perfect, and then it was not. Did she have a panic attack at this place? Oh, that's rough. Casey leaned in and kissed Angie. Angie kissed Casey back. The kissing was an impassioned distraction that should have tempered the terror racing in Angie. But soon there was a pang, a pressure. Angie pushed Casey away. She gasped for air. She could not breathe. Oh, man. Casey jumped from the truck bed to get her mother, Esther, and Esther's boyfriend with a handlebar mustache. Esther hovered over Angie, caressing her forehead. Breathe, baby, just breathe. Angie was surely dying, without question. Dying in the back of a 1999 Toyota pickup with rust along the truck bed. Dying on an inflatable mattress with Enya on the radio. She did not want to die to Enya. Hyperventilating, Angie passed out, only to awaken on a stretcher. Oh, dude. Fireworks streaked and burst across the night sky as Angie disappeared into an ambulance with Casey and Esther at her side. Angie was in fact not dying. She would be diagnosed with panic disorder. Yeah, that's tough. It has the definition of panic disorder here. It's a psychiatric disorder in which a person goes into a deep state of fear, often without an immediate danger, that can cause physical symptoms such as sweating, shortness of breath, and a racing heartbeat. Her couldn't understand mother received a bill of $1,500 from the ambulance ride to the emergency system, because that is our American healthcare system, guys. Connie was angry over the fact that her insurance provider would not cover the expense. This was made very clear to Angie. It did not help that Angie had been with Casey. Connie did not like Casey. Connie had forbidden Angie to spend time with Casey. Connie was, among a myriad of other harsh descriptors, homophobic. She needs to get hit by a car. I mean, honestly, it's June. Connie, it is June. Where was I? Over the summer, Connie had hoped to reduce Angie's gay tendencies with a few not-so-subtle gifts. A Bible with a vacation Bible school leaflet. Copies of Teen Beat and J14 that prominently featured attractive young men. Blu-ray discs of movie adaptations of Nicholas Sparks' A Walk to Remember and The Notebook. I don't know how those two movies are going to turn somebody straight, but okay. Have you guys seen those two movies? You should. Watch them and come back and tell me what you think. Lying on the noisy pillow in the nurse's office, Angie tightened her arms around her diaphragm. She closed her eyes and tried to breathe her nervousness away. To breathe away the image of Jake and Stacey Ann, of the looming statue dedication ceremony, of everything she felt about her sister that she could not say because it's Angie? Angie tipped her head towards the edge of the curtain. Jamboree stood shouldering Angie's hefty backpack. Can I, come in? Jamboree asked. Angie nodded, scooting and propping herself against the powder blue wall, the back of her head rubbing up against a laminated motivational speaker. Jamboree nestled the backpack. Wait, what am I saying? Rubbing up against a laminated motivational poster, not speaker. Jamboree nestled the backpack beside Angie. Thanks, said Angie awkwardly. After 3 years of nothing but a passing glance, it perplexed Angie how much it hurt to be in close proximity to Jamboree. What if more hurting made her freak out again? She did not want to freak out again. She had to fit, to be normal, to do what was expected. And there were so many expectations, most of which she rarely met, except the ones that were about her messing up, about being nothing like her sister. We gotta get over this. I know that sounds harsh, but is it okay if I... sit, Jamboree said, motioning to a chair. Angie shrugged, pulling the backpack closer to her. Jamboree sat approximately 4 feet from Angie. It felt remarkably close somehow. So, Jamboree said, first days always suck. Yeah, Angie said. Silence. More weird silence. They were in a perpetual wait for the other person to say something else cycle. It was truly uncomfortable. Thing is that I think this is also part of Angie's fault because she's really bad at talking. Good summer? Jamboree asked. Angie shrugged. You? Yeah, Belgium was cool. Got to see Paris. Yeah? Eiffel Tower, Jamboree said, looking up at the popcorn ceiling. It was big. Okay, this is bad. Huh, Angie said. I guess it's supposed to be big. Jamboree shrugged. When I got back in August, my parents had dusted off the RV. Angie nodded. They let me drive it now, said Jamboree. I didn't think my dad would ever turn over the keys. That's, cool, Angie said. Yeah, ... More weird, what are we actually talking about silence? Are you okay? Jamboree asked. I mean, the lunch thing? Yeah, Angie said. It was just a weird blood sugar thing. Like diabetes? No, definitely not. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything anyway. I skipped the part where she said definitely not very defensively. The word defensively is here, so she doesn't want diabetes. Pause, very weighted pause. Jamboree's eyes drifted to Angie's wrists. Oh dear. To the scars peeking from the edges of her Casio calculator watch and a navy blue sweatband. Angie self-consciously repositioned her arms. It's kind of weird, huh? Jamboree said. What? Angie asked. This. Us. Talking. Angie's eyes searched for a place to land that was not Jamboree. I came by your house, said Jamboree, after the pep rally thing happened, after you came back from that place you were at. That place. And that's italicized? It had many names. The treatment facility, the nut house, the crazy farm. Angie's return from the Yellow Ridge was the fodder for the William Anders High School gossip mill still. That place had given her nicknames such as Crazy Fat Angie and Mad Cow Fat Angie. It had made her feel more alone than before she'd attempted suicide. Consequently, for that reason and others, Angie did not like that place. I think this school needs to be investigated for the amount of bullying that's going on. Your mom said you weren't ready for people, Jamboree said. But you never talked to me at school, Angie said, still not looking at Jamboree. I didn't know what to say. What were you going to say when you came by my house? Angie asked, picking at a thread on her backpack. Huh. I don't know. Angie nodded because people nod when they hide what they feel. I just thought, after what happened, I wanted to, said Jamboree. What about before that? Asked Angie. When you disappeared, when you just stopped talking to me. That's a lot of confrontation. Historically, Angie had not been successful at confrontation, but there she was, deep in the muck of confrontation. She kind of liked it, sort of. Yeah, I kind of messed that up, said Jamboree. I had a lot of stuff going on, and stuff I didn't know how to talk about. It felt like everything was going so fast and changing, and it was kind of complicated in my mind, you know? Stuff. Complicated. It was like code words for not telling the truth. Jake did it. Now Jamboree. You know what? I'm tired of this. I am. Because, she's a teenager, dude. She's, 15, 16? like, at that age, people don't want to talk about stuff. Like, you know, like, I feel like people, like, teens are going through, you know, lots of issues and mental things, and they're growing, and nobody wants to talk about it. I feel like Angie just feels like she's entitled to everybody telling her everything, and that she's the only person that is able to have issues, and, like, have people, like, be like, she wants people to give her grace, but, like, she's not really willing to give grace to others. That's why I don't like her. Sorry. I lost my place. Oh, now Jamboree. The hole ached in Angie's diaphragm. So, what do you want? Angie said. I don't want anything. You don't talk to me for 3 years, and now twice in the same day, the probability of you not wanting something isn't likely, statistically speaking. Okay. Even though Angie, according to her mother, was not good at the art of numbers, she felt her estimation was correct. Angie, said Jamboree. I don't know what I thought. It's just been a really strange summer. Shit, it's been just coming back from... It's been a really strange time. Everything is just so... Every time I pause is because there's a pause. Angie glanced at Jamboree, watching her think so precisely, as if the image of the universal answer was stretched out across her expression. I saw you this morning, Jamboree said, exhaling deeply. I wanted to talk to you, and Don't you ever just want to have an undo or redo or something? Angie did not follow the trajectory of Jamboree's question. And then also, she's so... What's the word? I don't even know what the word is. Like things are being obviously said and you don't get it. Come on, man. So, yeah, said Jamboree. I don't want anything from you. Angie looked at Jamboree. Her thinner cheeks, her clear skin, all the things the two of them had imagined perched in the loft of Jamboree's parents' classic RV. Their self-proclaimed treehouse on wheels. Cutting out pictures from magazines of what they wanted to look like. Be like. Hours and hours of collaging dreams of being someone else. Anyone else who was not who they were. Where they were. 2 pudgy girls in Dry Falls, Ohio. Is she jealous? Now Jamboree was nothing like Angie, inside or out, and Angie felt fatter than ever. I saw you play varsity last year. You really got good. Yeah, it wasn't my thing. You played it like it was your thing, Jamboree said, the way you used to when... Jamboree stopped herself. The way a lot of people did when Angie's sister's name came up. The basketball legend, the American war hero, the fallen soldier, Angie tried to reshuffle the images of her sister in her mind, to put them in some order that didn't make her feel angry, because Angie couldn't be angry at her. I played it like it was her thing, said Angie. Gotcha, said Jamboree. Awkward pause. Extended awkward pause. Were you always, gay? Jamboree asked. What? Angie asked, surprised by the question. When we were friends? I don't know, maybe, said Angie. I never thought you were... gay. Are you still... gay? Angie's brow furrowed. She had no problem looking at Jamboree now. Her hurt had been filled by another emotion, an emotion with fire. What is this? Asked Angie. Intel for Stacey Ann or something? What? Said Jamboree. No, why would you say that? Why? Maybe because you were sitting at lunch together? You never sit at lunch together. What do you mean you're changing the subject, dude? She's paranoid. You watch where I sit at lunch? Asked Jamboree. Not in a creepy stalkery way, no, but I've seen you, and I'm never with Stacey Ann Sloan, and it's no secret how she treated me, what she thinks about me. She kind of made a campaign about it, or a campaign of it. I'm not here because of Stacey Ann, said Jamboree. I barely even know her. I just wanted to see if you were okay, to try and talk to you, to finally just say, Go away, said Angie. And when Jamboree did not move, Angie pointed to the edge of the drawn curtain. Leave me alone. In that moment, Angie had, in fact, been very direct in what she wanted, though she was not sure if that was what she wanted. She was so mad and confused and so exhausted by the whole entire school day, and it was not even 6th period. The nameless nurse popped her head inside the curtain. Everything all right in here, ladies? She asked. Jamboree nodded, leaving Angie alone. Wait, hold on. Because what I'm picturing is just like the nurse's room with a curtain. And the nurse is on the other side. Of course you heard everything. That curtain isn't, like, soundproof. That's the end of the chapter, actually. I'm trying to see how long this next chapter is. Oh, okay, next chapter is kind of long. So this chapter that we read was just called How Does It Feel? And this next chapter is called No Hole in My Head. Alright. Alright, yeah, let's get to it. The school bus ride home was marked by the color yellow everywhere. The yellow bus, the yellow dry falls, Hornets, nest t-shirt. I can't say that. The yellow dry falls, Hornets Nest t-shirts the freshmen were wearing, the banner saluting her sister over Main Street with its yellow background, of course dusted in glitter, where yellow paused, red, white, and blue continued with American flags displayed prominently in front of businesses and neighborhoods. People's patriotism ticked higher than it had during her sister's highly attended and televised funeral 10 months earlier, an event that still haunted Angie. The cameras, the spectacle, the interviews with their inane questions about how do you feel, what do you feel. Angie had stammered through the answers the way she did in most public situations, without the poise and grace of her sister, without an inkling of anything similar to her sister but a gift for playing basketball, and Angie had, of course, quit that. Everywhere Angie looked was the color yellow. Pineapple. What her couldn't understand mother had called a symbol of honoring soldiers, a symbol of honoring her deceased sister, a symbol of the unveiling of a statue of her sister that was designed by a company based in New York City who subcontracted the materials from the Middle East. The irony was not lost on Angie as it had been on the Dry Falls Statue Planning Committee and even her couldn't understand mother. Yeah, I see that irony there, yeah. None of it made sense to Angie, not the scholarship fund started for young women who aspired to exceptional greatness by the Dry Falls Women's Rotary Club, not the bake sale by the Lions Club for a plaque in her name near the most defunct and miserably funded public library. Speaking of, Bourbon is getting a new library, so congratulations, guys, you did it. You're getting a brand new library, like, whole new place and everything. Good job. Now you can read. Not the little girls who had started wearing their hair back in the style of her sister, except with a camo clip clasped to a yellow ribbon. That's weird. This town is weird. The ghost of her sister saturated the neighborhoods and streets of Dry Falls. She was in every one of the 3,239 steps from the front door of their home to Oak Lawn ends to William Anders High School. She was in the sidewalk outside Jamboree's house where she, Angie, and Jamboree had stick-written their initials in wet concrete. She was in the conversations of people who had lived through her absolute, unbelievable reign as homecoming queen, state-honored athlete, school play lead, student council president, Society of Christian Scholars president, model UN club president, key club president, yearbook assistant editor. Just a busy girl. And all of the things she was And of all the things, she was the pulse of her state-winning William Anders High School girls varsity basketball team, leading the Hornets' Nest to 3 consecutive regional finals and 1 state win in her senior year. Angie's sister had been the shining star and single most important person in the community, aside from a football player who made it to the NFL. But his knee blew out on his first professional game, and he had disappeared into all but obscurity. That's rough, guys. It's rough. But her sister, she was a war hero. She was a legend. She was even to become a made-for-television movie. No. On a historically women-focused network. Oh, that's so weird. Can you imagine? Ooh. Speaking of, if you were to become, like, famous in your town because, like, you achieved something, what would it be? Let me know. Could be a criminal, I don't know. No one wanted to let her go. At least the her they had created from photographs, newspaper clippings, and videos pre- and post-capture. The Midwestern girl with an unstoppable jump shot and a smile ready for a magazine spread. The soldier who had bravely faced her torturous death. She had been everything Fat Angie was not. There is no escaping any of this bitter and brutal reality. And in the town's excessive focus on the immortalization of Angie's sister, Angie was in an unexpected dilemma. Her once immense missing for her fallen sister had, unbeknownst to her, been replaced with anger. Fat Angie had learned about anger from her previous useless therapist. Using a graphic to illustrate Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 1969 discovery, he slowly explained the 5 stages of grief in order to her: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I go through that every day at the gym. Yep. Angie was neither slow-witted nor invested in his semi-lecture on human emotion. Consequently, her mind had drifted until he insisted Angie was in the anger stage of grief, which was infuriating because Angie was the only person who had believed that her sister would come home from Iraq alive. So she was in denial. Whether she escaped from the terrorist who had captured her or was rescued by a special secret ops mission, she was coming home. Home to make Rice Krispie s'mores, rolls, and watch Kung Fu and Mr. I dropped the book. So sorry, guys. I got it. Home to make Rice Krispie s'more rolls and watch Kung Fu and Mr. John Hughes movie with Angie and even Wang, if he was not being a jerk. He's been mentioned twice now. Where is he? There was no possible way Angie could have been angry at her sister. She was the only one in all of Dry Falls who saw Angie for who she was and loved her anyway. Before Casey and Jake anyway. And Ryan, dude. But 10 months after her sister's funeral and now the new woo-woo therapist, and the Fat Angie found it harder to deny what brewed beneath the surface of her conflicted psyche. Angie was angry. Angie was very angry at her deceased sister. Angie did not like being very angry at her deceased sister because she loved her so much. Plus, it did not fit the order of the 5 stages of grief, and this perplexed her, but not enough to ask her new woo-woo therapist. Even if his therapist seemed to be on Angie's side, she was ultimately on her parents', which meant there were things Angie just could not say. Although it's supposed to stay anonymous, but I guess I don't know how much. The school bus idled outside of Angie's home, tucked in the cul-de-sac of Oak Lawn Ends. She wedged her body through the narrow aisle, stepping over a cluster of backpacks spilling over into it. Hey, badass, Joey wants you to suck him off. Oh my god. Fuck. Said Corey, an asinine sophomore sitting in the midsection of the bus. I don't feel comfortable. Corey Baker was a relentless bus ride tormentor of Angie's. His face was dotted with acne, his hair shaped with product, saluted the roof of the bus, wearing some rotation of retro t-shirts featuring the likes of Dolly Parton, Billy Ray Cyrus, and anything Cincinnati Bengals. He was everything outcast, but still higher on the social food chain than Angie. Being a queer, fat girl who had suffered a public nervous breakdown and struggled with social situations made Angie a snowflake in the teen world of Dry Falls, Ohio, and Corey Baker was one of many who would not let her forget it. Screw you, the Joey guy said, slamming Corey against the bus wall. Wait, what? Oh, I get it. Because Corey yelled that about Joey, and now Joey is mad at Corey. No, I got it. Angie stepped off the school bus, literally surrounded by flapping yellow ribbons. Every tree trunk in the neighborhood was adorned with vomitous yellow. The sight of them nearly choked the very air out of Angie. Because for her, it was all fake, phony, fibbing, lying, made up, fictional, invented, to make people feel better. They all relied on the invented story of her sister to feel something that was not real. And Angie, well, she might have questioned what was real, but she knew it was not yellow ribbons and sprinkled glitter tied around trees. Wang's Jeep sat untouched in the garage. Their couldn't-understand mother had finally understood how to get Wang where it hurt, his Jeep keys. After his recent foray into moderate teen rebellion with his friends, their mother took the keys and mailed them to some undisclosed location. A lunacy that had divided Wang and his couldn't-understand mother more and, oddly, brought him and Angie somewhat closer together, which was an unusual state of truce in an otherwise rocky relationship between them. To Angie's deepest regret, her couldn't understand mother's leased SUV sprawled across the greater part of the driveway. An unusual occurrence, as Connie was rarely home before 7:30 at night, if she came home at all. The SUV's bottomless black exterior glistened in the sunlight, freshly detailed as it was every 3 weeks inside and out. A spritz of excellence air freshener on the floorboard mats generated a smell reminiscent of a funeral home, to Angie anyway. Not a single scuff or ding, not a single visible imperfection to the car. Angie's couldn't understand mother preferred all things to be that way. Angie's stomach gurgled. And that's great for her. I ran over a curve 2 days ago, so didn't see it. Yeah. Fat Angie stood in the archway of the recently redecorated living room, watching her couldn't understand mother meticulously arrange an urn on the mantel. "What is that?" Fat Angie asked. Connie, startled by her daughter, jumped ever so slightly, an indication that she had been deep in her curious process. "When did you get home?" asked Connie. "I don't know, like now?" You could have just said now. Connie adjusted the urn one more time before stepping back to admire it. "It's something, isn't it?" asked Connie. "I guess. What is it?" Connie shifted her head to the left, questioning the placement of the urn. She adjusted it. "Centimeters, if one were measuring. It's an urn," her couldn't understand mother said, matter-of-factly. "But why?" "It's a symbol," Connie said, a hint of irritation in her voice. "Of what? She's in the ground. The parts of her they found, anyway." "Stop!" Connie's response startled Fat Angie. Fat Angie historically did not like confrontation. Okay, you can't be mad that your mom's angry at that comment, dude. Fat Angie especially did not like confrontation with her corporate lawyer mother. Fat Angie found herself in what would be considered a pickle, a jam, an incident of inevitable confrontation. Even though Connie had recently picked up hot chic yoga, there was no amount of zen vibing between the two of them, because the weight of Angie was often more than Connie could bear. Her size, her weirdness, her inability to fit. Look, you were an ass. Okay, come on. Angie stood there swaddled in the unbearable silence, her stomach growling ever so slightly. Had Angie not flunked freshman year, attempted a very public suicide at a football pep rally, done a host of things that brought attention to her family in the midst of her sister's capture before her body had been found, Angie would still not be the daughter Connie wanted, because that daughter had died and was now a symbol on the mantel in an empty urn. "It's necessary, isn't it?" asked Connie. Fat Angie did not comprehend the directness of Connie's obscure question. It was not passive-aggressive. They were historically passive-aggressive communicators, a term that her previous therapist had assigned Angie, though she struggled immensely with the assessment. Passive-aggressive. Definition. When someone does not directly address what is bothering them and is actually pretty bothered. "I don't understand," Angie said. "For you to question, to destroy anything that I value, to distort it by your standards of strangeness, and don't use that woo-woo therapist said as an excuse. There are people with real challenges, Angie. People who can't walk. People who can't see, Angie. Blind people." What? I thought we were talking about an urn. What the hell? Angie was looking at one, metaphorically speaking, but she kept any reaction that would be perceived as snarky to herself. "Imagine if you couldn't see," said her couldn't understand mother. "It's an urn," said Fat Angie flatly. "You're supposed to put something in it. It's empty." The purpose of an urn appeared quite obvious to Fat Angie. Her conclusion did not sit well with her couldn't understand mother. "Go to your room," said Connie. "Why?" "Because I need to not look at you right now." Connie's direct, flat, emotionally unemotional comment seared Angie quite directly. And when Angie remained frozen in the immobility of rejection and confusion, Connie took it upon herself to leave the room, climbing upstairs and disappearing at the top of the refinished mahogany banister. Angie looked at the urn, considering the emptiness of Connie's symbol. That was when the hole expanded and squeezed the edges of her diaphragm. "She doesn't like me," Fat Angie had told her new woo-woo therapist. "My mother, she doesn't like me." "Why do you think that?" the new woo-woo therapist had asked her. "After my sister's funeral, she was on the phone with her friend Joan. She said, 'Why did it have to be my good one?'" "That would be hurtful to hear," said the new woo-woo therapist. "Do you think that?" Can I have a piece of candy from the jar in your desk? Wang strolled into the living room. So that was a flashback, and now we're back. Wang strolled into the living room from eating Spam macadamia nuts. That's disgusting. He popped his earbuds out, the bumping bass of rap echoing through them. You don't look sick, said Angie. Total Ferris Bueller, man. I needed a mental health day, yo. It was the first day of school. If there wasn't a 3-day weekend coming, I would have contracted Wes now to stay home. For real. She told you to ride your bike to school, didn't she? Angie asked. He punched his tongue against his cheek, then leaned into her. I will crawl on my hands and knees, my butt cheeks, before I do that. Angie chortled. Wang grinned before laughing. It felt good to laugh with him, to be the closest version to what they used to be when their sister had been around. Well, it sucked, Angie said. School. Wang pulled his phone out of his sweatpants, swiped, and then clicked a video link. There was Angie in low resolution, panting, sweating, shaking. The level of humiliation was high, the comments immensely cruel. That's rough. Jack to Rip said, pregnant cow birth. XFly231 says, IDK, she crazy. But they spelled crazy with CRZY. Ashley7792, whale ashore. But there was Jamboree holding on to her the way she had when Angie broke her leg in 2nd grade. That was the 2nd grade Jamboree, minus the fully developed breast, smooth complexion, and fashion-forward wardrobe. Please, please tell me you didn't share this with Mom. Wang put his phone away. Nah, someone will. Probably Joan's daughter. She's a fucking narc about everything we do. Maybe you shouldn't have slept with Mom's best friend's daughter and told your boys about it. Damn. I didn't tell anybody, fool. It was Richie. I'm a Dick Camacho. For real, he's like... But Wang stopped talking as he tilted his head, staring into the living room, confused by the hell is that? He asked, eyes on the mantel. It's an urn, said Angie. He continued masticating rather loudly. It's empty, right? He confirmed. She says it's a symbol. Like the fucking ribbons, he asked? Angie nodded. Man, shit just keeps getting stranger, yo. Wang said, did she show you the video of the spotlight? Angie shook her head. What are you talking about? For real, she had some company come out to the cemetery, Wang said, still masticating. They, retrofit the headstone with this Las Vegas Luxor light-looking thing. Legit. It's right on top and activates at night. Kind of a JFK Eternal Flame, minus the actual flame. That's crazy. No way, said Angie. That's even too far for Mom. He nodded. I'm serious. I talked to Frankie Gonzalez. Says he can see it from his backyard. It was the single most ridiculous effort yet for Connie to elevate her daughter's death to something as monumental as John F. Kennedy's Eternal Flame. But where would the lunacy stop? Like the urn, I can understand the urn, but this is pretty crazy. She came home early to meet with the mayor about tomorrow. They got hundreds of seats in the park, 2 big massive tents, military band. Man, it's insane, you know? Tomorrow, Wednesday, the afternoon Angie had dreaded for months. What should have been the second full day of seemingly miserable new school year would be a half day because of an even more miserable statue dedication ceremony. An event that should have been held on a Saturday, but Connie dared not compete with a major concert 2 hours north in Cleveland and the Dry Falls Buckeye Pie and Art Festival. Angie's mother had stopped at nothing short of spectacle. Does she really think that many people will show up? Angie asked. Don't you? Angie shrugged. I just wanted to be over all of it. Wang nodded, tipping the bag of Spam macadamia nuts toward her. She shook her head. She really do that with the headstone? Angie asked. Look, I wouldn't lie to you. Biggie sighs. He said. She punched him in the arm. Don't call me that. Hey, said Wang, gently massaging his arm. Watch the beauty that is my new tattoo. Wang proudly lifted his t-shirt sleeve, revealing that what was in fact an actual non-washable tattoo. Shut the front door, she said. Is that real? Shh. Damn, Mom doesn't know. He showcased the most ridiculous, the most absolutely unfathomable. Angie was not sure actually what it was supposed to be. It's Bruce Lee, Wang said, matter of fact. It was a matter of fact that it did not resemble Bruce Lee. Are you sure? Angie asked. What do you mean? Yeah, I'm sure. Look at that pose. Game of death. Okay. I thought his jumpsuit was yellow. That's yellow, sort of, he said. I need touch-ups. Again, the tattoo did not resemble Bruce Lee in The Game of Death. unless Bruce Lee looked like a cross between a hobbit, a few pieces of spaghetti, and a martial arts artist pose. Then it definitely was a dead ringer for Hobbit Spaghetti Bruce Lee. And some shading, said Wang. Okay, Angie said, still inappropriately staring at it. Mark's cousin did it. He's apprenticing at Redwall, over by Smokey's Burgers. A tattoo shop did this? Angie asked, a stroke of absolute surprise in her voice. No, I mean, I'm not 18. He dropped this in his basement. Basement? Angie said. That's stupid. You're going to get hepatitis. Can't you be cool for like a second? He slid his sleeve down. Miss, I dated a smoking hot lesbian with a purple heart tattoo on her neck until she dumped me for a better life in Texas. That was really hard to say because all of that was like word hyphen, word hyphen. Angie's chin doubled. Wang and his need for the upper hand had hurt Angie immensely. Look, I'm sorry, okay, said Wang, but damn, you're weird. Did Mom really JFK Eternal Flame the headstone? Dude, with all of the press, what do you think? And don't forget, ABC is coming over tomorrow after the dedication ceremony. I thought we weren't doing that one. Tribute to a fallen soldier, said Wang, like she's gonna pass on that. Wang shook his head, looking at the urn. Angie disliked the interviews. The cameras made a nervous twitch develop above her right eye. Puddles of sweat would pool on the underside of her knees. She could not focus on the questions. It was not that she was unable to follow their meaning. It was that they actually meant nothing, to her anyway. They interviewed Dad and Sharon already. I heard Mom complaining to Joan about it on the phone. He's not coming tomorrow, said Angie. I don't know. He sent me a text. Said he was still getting settled in Lexington. Like, he's been there for 2 months. How long does it take to get settled? Knowing her couldn't show up, Father, it would take years. Anything to excuse his not being there for either one of them. At least in the ways they needed. Like, what the hell is in Kentucky anyway? Wang said. The world's largest baseball bat and the Kentucky Derby, Angie said, for starters. The world's largest baseball? Really? Okay, Google. All I know is I hate Kentucky, but I'm thinking about hollering at him. See if he'd let me come and chill down there for a few. How few? Asked Angie. I don't know. Few. You don't know, or... It's just weird around here, you know? Wang said. Urns, statues, shit, everything's still about her. And she's not even here, you know? I'm just done, man. Okay, so it's super weird, said Angie. It's always weird. You can't just leave. I mean, who else is going to put Monistat into my toothpaste? He grinned. That was a good one, right? Disgusting, but smart. He tipped the bag of Spam macadamia nuts towards her again, giving it a little shake. Try it. She leaned forward. The smell was like dirty socks and salt. She pulled out 5 pieces and tossed them in her mouth. One would have been too many because her face soured in exactly 3 precise chews. It's foul, right? Yeah, I love it. Wang jogged upstairs, disappearing into his room. Soon the sound of ABBA Gold swept the walls and strutted down toward Angie. And there she was with the taste of stale Spam macadamia nuts, swaddled in the disco hit song Dancing Queen, and the emptiness of the urn. Her day could get no worse. The end. Alright, that was 2 chapters. Sorry it took me a while. I've been very, very busy. But I will, what day is it today? Thursday? I'll try to post again on Tuesday. Leave me your thoughts in the comments, and I hope you're still listening to this. Bye.